Bro, the Starks will fucking murder me for that. Yo, the show was sick. Zoe 101 was such a sick show. I wanted to live at their school. I wanted to live there. Hello, Wisconsin!
Born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days. You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
What's up everybody, it's Chris and welcome back to my channel. Judging from the intro, I'm sure you guys will know what I'll be talking about today, and that is my favorite television shows. On my spare time, I watch a lot of TV, and when I say a lot, it's normally multiple shows at the same time. I've probably caught myself watching the most maybe 4 shows like intertwining between one another. So what I'll be talking to you guys about today are some of my favorite television shows, as well as some TV shows that I want you guys to take a look at and see for yourselves. So first, I'll get into some of my favorite comedic television shows. Number 1 is The Office. The Office is the funniest television show I have ever seen in my entire life. That cast of characters complement each other so well, and they all add a different aspect to that already great television show. Michael Scott is probably one of my favorite characters of all time. Even though he does have his cringy moments, he makes up for it in every other aspect. Dwight and Jim are like the perfect yin and yang, and the show would not be itself without those two together. And lastly, because they seemed like real people, you wanted to see what would happen next, what crazy, what funny thing they would do in the office. And for 9 seasons, we were able to experience that with them. It's a great show that you can literally go on Netflix and watch any episode at. You don't have to start from the beginning. You can pick pretty much any random episode and watch from there, and you will not be disappointed. So my second favorite comedy show is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, starring Andy Samberg, Terry Crews, Andre Braugher, and the list goes on. That show is hilarious, and it kind of follows the same format as The Office, but put into a police format. It's a quick watch like The Office, 20-minute episodes that you can just pretty much fly by in a second. I think Netflix still has it on there, so if you're really good at binge watching, you can probably get through the first like 4 seasons in like a week tops. And my third favorite comedic show is HBO's Entourage. Entourage is the show I wish I was in. It's a life that I wish I had, and it's a story of characters that remind me of me and my friends. My friends and I, for all you grammar people over there. It's a show about pretty much trying to make it in Hollywood. And because of that, the twists and turns, the ups and downs that these guys go through is really worth watching. If I'm being completely honest, I haven't seen the last season yet, but everything I've watched so far has been really good. Shout out to my boy Francis for putting me on. He told me to watch the show back when we were at McMaster, and I binged it up until like season 6, and I haven't gotten back to it, but I promise you I will finish it, because the movie came out as well too, and I still haven't seen it yet either. And now I'm going to talk about my favorite drama television shows. Number 1, I'll start with Breaking Bad. So Breaking Bad is a show that I watched a little while ago. It's been a couple years since I last seen it, but Breaking Bad has some of the best character arcs I've ever seen, and that's just between two characters. Walter White and Jesse Pinkman were probably the best television duo I've ever seen. Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul do a fantastic job playing the both of them. It's about a chemistry teacher who unfortunately gets diagnosed with cancer, who then gets into the drug game cooking meth to provide for his family. If that doesn't sound like a convincing, intro or like synopsis or anything like that, then I don't know how else to describe the show for you, but except the fact that, man, who's texting me, bro? It's a show that strikes endless debate as you're either Team Walt or Team Hank. Walt, as I said, the drug dealer. Hank is his DEA brother-in-law. So pick a side there and let me know what you guys think. I'm Team Walt till the day I die. Walter White is the OG. He's Heisenberg, and you don't want to with him. Why would you watch a show and root for the cops? Like, if you're going to watch a show and root for the cops, go watch Criminal Minds. Go watch CSI Miami or something. Don't watch Breaking Bad if you're going to root for the police. Like, if you're going to root for the police, go watch something like that. Go watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine if you're going to root for the police. The next drama show is HBO's True Detective. The cool thing about True Detective is that in its 3 seasons of airtime, each season is a different story. It's a different story with a completely different cast, new faces, new storylines, and pretty much new television. If you haven't already seen it, season 1, starring Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, in my honest opinion, was one of the greatest seasons of television I've ever seen. Season 1 of True Detective had me at the edge of my seat. It had goosebumps and like tingles going through my spine. As well as like the story, Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are amazing actors, and those two complement each other so well. Season 3 just came out, and it's starring Maher Saleha Ali. I don't know how to pronounce his name if I'm being honest, but he's a fantastic actor. So take a look at that if you are a fan of his work, and if you're looking for a new show to watch. You don't have to start it from season 1. Actually, you start it from season 1. That'll get you hooked, and then finish it off from there. And the last drama that I would like to talk about is the one that I was saving last, the best for last, and that is HBO's Game of Thrones. I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. It is, in my opinion, the best show on television right now. It will probably be my favorite show at the end of it, and it might even go down as the greatest television show of all time. Oh yeah, and it's also the most pirated show, by the way, as well too. So there's like this weird stigma for people who haven't seen Game of Thrones yet. They like put this dark cloud over it, like it's a bad thing to watch the show. They look at it as like, oh, I don't want to watch a show for nerds. I don't want to watch a show about wizards and dragons and if I'm being honest, that's what I thought before I started watching it too. I thought it was all about, well, you know, Lord of the Rings. I thought it was take Lord of the Rings and just put it in a TV show, but boy, I was absolutely wrong. The reason why I watch Game of Thrones, and the reason why I think Game of Thrones is such fantastic television, is because of how many characters there are and how many stories are going on at the same time as well too. By having that many characters and by having that many storylines, some people might feel a little bit overwhelmed that there might be too much going on, which I completely agree as well too. Sometimes there are stories that I could give 2 shits about getting more screen time than others. But the reason why that I think that it's such a great show is because all of those together creates conversation with those around you. You see, Game of Thrones has so many different characters that you can root for and you can root against. My personal favorites include Jon Snow, Tyrion Lannister, and Arya Stark. While some of the characters I hate include Ramsay Bolton, Joffrey Lannister, and even Daenerys, if I'm being honest. Up until these last few seasons, I did not like her at all. And you see, there are people who love Daenerys, might even like Ramsay if they're sick in the head, but might hate Tyrion, hate Jon Snow. The reason, as I said before, it's a show that creates conversation. It's a show that makes you have these conversations with other people who watch it and get into pretty good debates about it as well too. A show that has you talking about it after it has finished airing is a great show. It leaves you wondering what's going to happen next. It leaves you itching for that next episode. And Game of Thrones is exactly that. It's a show that makes me want to go on Pirate Bay and download it illegally. But I know I shouldn't because Rogers will give me an email saying that I'm doing something illegal. It's a show that brings you in and makes you appreciate these characters. But the one thing that Game of Thrones has taught me is not to love characters too much, because you don't know what's going to happen to them. And I think that's why this show is great as well too, because it is literally a show that leaves you at the edge of your seat, wondering who's going to die next, who's going to survive, and what the hell is going on with these White Walkers. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones yet, it's a show that I highly recommend. I'm probably not the first person to ever tell you to watch it, but I'm telling you right now, it's a show that might go down as the best of all time. It's going into its 8th and final season on April 14th, and I absolutely cannot wait. And before I sign out, I'd like to recommend 3 shows for you guys. If you guys are looking for something to binge watch, hopefully one of these 3 will be something you guys might be interested in. Number 1 is The Wire. So The Wire is about the drug scene in Baltimore, how it affects the policemen, how it affects the drug dealers, how it affects the blue-collar workers, how it affects the children, and how it affects the media. And pretty much how it pretty much puts all of them together into one beautiful masterpiece of a television show. The Wire has some of the best writing, has some of the best acting, has some of the best actors. I don't really know how else to explain it except that it's a generational television show. People will see this show years from now and see its importance and see its culture and see how it's resonated with the people. But yeah, The Wire is my favorite television show. Game of Thrones is a close second, but I think The Wire is still edging it out right now as well too. The second show I'd like to recommend is a show called Happy Endings. And no, it is not what you're probably thinking right now too. So the show is pretty much like a modern day version of Friends mixed with How I Met Your Mother with modern day jokes. The reason why I like it is because it's very relatable. It reminds me of my own friend group. I think you guys will like it. It's a great cast where all the characters are really likable, and you should give it a watch. I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore, but it should be easy to find for you guys online. And the last show I'd like to recommend is on Netflix, and it's Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. The reason why I recommend this show is because if you're looking for a show about realness, if you're looking for a show about diversity, if you're looking for a show that, you know, touches you on a personal level, I would recommend Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. Anthony Bourdain is a fantastic human being, and unfortunately we lost him too soon. And Anthony Bourdain travels the world getting to know people in countries that we might never see in our life. He gets to experience the food, the nightlife, the lifestyles of people millions of miles away from us. It's a show that makes us wish that we were there with him. But most importantly, it's a show that teaches us about humility. It teaches us about unity. It teaches us about selflessness, as well as how entwined we are with people across the world and how similar we are with people we will never get the chance to meet. If you're looking for a show to bring you back down to earth, that gives you that realness, that puts you in another person's shoes, I highly recommend Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys on your spare time take a look at all the shows that I recommended. And what do you guys watch? Post below the shows that you watch, and I'll take a look at it once exams are done, because I really need some shows to watch as well. Deuces, y'all!